time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Chad Erickson, and great to have you all with us on this Friday edition of the show. We got a lot to do over the next 60 minutes. Robert Littal is here for his weekly visit, Black Sports Online founder. Tino Pattigno will be here to talk NASCAR with the playoffs headed to the Roval. So we'll just ask who's finishing second, because we know Shane Van Gisbergen's going to win the race. So we just ask who finishes in second. We have Page versus the Prince, Week 5 NFL picks. But we start things out in Major League Baseball. And Sam Yarnell, what a night it was, and what a day it was around Major League Baseball with these Game 3 wild cards. And we got to start with the best, and that was Cam Schlittler and what he did last night for the Yankees. His moment, the time where you go from being a prospect to a phenom, the moment where you can solidify yourself as part of this rotation for years to come. If you're Cam Schlittler, I mean, it's the only way I could look at it after he dominates the Red Sox for 8 innings, 12 strikeouts, no walks, no earned runs. Nobody's ever done it in the history of baseball, which is like 1,600 postseason games. Pretty magical stuff at Yankee Stadium last night, Sam.
Yeah, Cam Schlittler is a very, very good pitcher. And I told you about this before the season started. I said that he was going to come up through their system quickly. This is a kid who I watched pitch in college. I called his games. I've known Cam Schlittler's pitching style very well for a very long time, and he is a very good pitcher who is going to be, hopefully a stalwart in that Yankees rotation for years to come, probably as long as they have him under team control, because we know that their tendency with those kinds of players. Here's the thing. I have never, in all of the years by the way, the ESPN stat that you gave out with the 12 strikeouts in 8 innings, I saw that there was a tweet going around that is the most New York way of putting it, because if you add in 1 or more walks to that stat, I think it turns into like 40 games.
But there were none.
Regardless, I have never, and this is to your point about this entire series, I have never in my life seen an entire baseball team collapse around one singular play. The play that you talk about in the 7th inning of Game 2, not sending that runner on the Jazz Chisholm errant throw and not tying that game when they had the opportunity to, not making that call as a third base coach, as a member of a very aggressive coaching staff in Major League Baseball, took every ounce of air that the Red Sox had out of them. They looked like a completely different team from that moment on, and they played uninspired baseball, Jason.
I agree.
Credit to the Yankees for stepping on their throats like they did, but from the first pitch of that game that Jarren Duran swung at, you knew that the Red Sox were cooked in this series.
No, and it wasn't like the Yankees were killing the ball either in that game. I mean, they scored 4 runs, but it wasn't like they were mashing. Outside of the Giancarlo Stanton ball that he thought was a home run. And that was really the only super hard hit ball that the Yankees had all night. Hats off to Anthony Volpe, by the way. He had a hell of a series, both defensively and hitting the baseball. It'll be one of the most forgotten parts of that series was how good Anthony Volpe was, Sam.
And we got to get through this quick because we got to get to the other ones, and I'll be quick on this. But the promising thing about the Yankees is exactly what you said. They produced runs in the last 2 games of this series, more so Game 3 than Game 2, but in the last 2 games regardless, without playing Yankee baseball.
Yes.
They weren't relying on the home run or just barely getting it over the short porch or whatever we think of as how the Yankees offense has worked this season.
Yes.
They manufactured runs. It was good postseason baseball in the last 2 games of this series from New York.
I agree, and they are now favorites to win the World Series alongside the Dodgers at plus 410 as we start Friday. All right, let's talk about the Tigers. They are moving on. They get a look. I mean, the Guardians have had trouble scoring runs. They had errors in this game. You had base running blunders by Jose Ramirez both in this game and in Game 1. The Tigers are on to the American League Divisional Series. Well, they'll get the Mariners.
I mean, credit to the Tigers, man. They really strapped in and got down to business when it mattered most. And it is hard to shake what they went through over the last month of the season, Jason. And nothing but credit to that entire organization, top to bottom, for being able to pull together in a road series and winning two of the 3 games. I can't say enough good things about how this team is turning around. They've got a lot of momentum behind them.
Yes, they do. Padres are going home, Sam Yarnell. How about that? The Cubbies. And look, I think this is one of those series where the better team actually didn't win, Sam. I thought the Padres were the better baseball team. I'm surprised the Cubs are moving through. I thought the Padres would figure out a way to get through that game 3 and on to the next round. And you have to start asking yourselves as an organization, if you're the Padres, are we ever getting over the hump with this group?
I don't know what to say. I mean, we talked about this at the trade deadline, Jason. This was a team that, because of the moves that they had made over the course of not just this year, but the last 3 years, 4 years even, this was a group that needed to make a deep playoff run this year, and they fall in the first round. This is, big time questions coming in San Diego. AJ Preller, you got to feel like your seat is getting very, very warm. I don't know. This is tough to watch from a baseball standpoint. I agree with you. I think the more talented team in this series lost. But hey, that's the Chicago baseball magic, man.
It certainly is. Now we look at the postseason bracket, Sam, with the Tigers and Mariners meeting up in one ALDS, the Yankees and Blue Jays in the other. Who do you like in both series?
Oh, man. The top one's a tough one because the Tigers are a hot baseball team right now. But I'll tell you, the Tigers hang their hat on pitching. And if there's one thing the Mariners are good at, it's pitching. I like the total runs in this series under, but I'll take the Mariners reluctantly. On the other side, oh, man, and I just did it with the Mariners. It is so hard to pick a team that just had a bye to win a playoff series. Because of that, I think I'd probably go with the Yankees. But again, both of those very reluctant. I could see the Tigers and Blue Jays getting in just as easily. I think it's razor thin margins.
Yeah, I like the Yankees for obvious reasons, and I love I love the Mariners in this series. I think the time off actually might have been a good thing for them in this instance. National League, you got the Phillies and Dodgers, Cubs and Brewers. Real quick, who do you like?
Go both bye teams, Dodgers and Dodgers and Cubs. Switch up.
I say the Brewers finally get through a round. I'll go Brewers and I'll go Dodgers. I think we're headed for a World Series rematch, to be honest with you. It's kind of where my head is right now. Wild football game. We'll get to it next. Coming up in 10 minutes, Robert Littal, the founder of Black Sports Online, hangs out with us. Get his thoughts on a whole host of issues around the sports world, including news that we did not talk about this week on the show, and that is Bad Bunny being named the halftime Super Bowl act. Be curious to see what... Hold on, Sam. Go ahead. Wanted to make sure you're on camera.
It's pronounced Baboni.
Oh, okay.
Bad Bunny. No,
Yeah.
Baboni. Se llama Baboni.
I mean, he's a hell of a wrestler. I didn't know they were putting wrestlers into. I didn't know they were putting wrestlers in the Super Bowl halftime show. Now it's a hell of an accomplishment by Triple H getting WWE superstars into the. That's credit to him. All right, Sam. We had ourselves a heck of a Thursday night football game. Be crazy if it was Monday. A heck of a Thursday night game, Sam. And it's rare that I ever pull up text messages of yours to put on the screen for our audience, but this might be one of the instances where I actually have to do it. We'll get to that in a moment, but how about the San Francisco 49ers? Probably the most unlikely 4-1 team, considering all the injuries they've had. Not what we thought they would be before the season started and everybody was healthy, but this team, the walking wounded, going into Los Angeles last night, blowing a lead, and then able to get up off the mat. Mac Jones, it looks like the Walking Dead. He's just getting hit and beat up every which way to Sunday. The knee looked like he was hurling at the end of the game. and does
Yes,
it.
it did.
Oh, it's awful. And I loved how Prime Video was like trying to get the money shot of him just tossing his cookies. They just held it there, and then they were like, all right, we got to get back to the game. Nice job by you guys over at Prime Video. And the Niners get a win on a controversial fourth down call by Sean McVay. I don't have a problem with them running the football. I don't have a problem with them going for it on fourth down. The play call was my problem, and apparently everybody agreed with me because I said that to you before any of the post-game press conference stuff came out. And then Sean McVay came out and said it. Even Matt Stafford, I think, kind of, without saying it, said it. And Sam Yarnell, this is the text message from Sam Yarnell last night. And for those who are listening on the podcast, I'll read it to you. Was screaming at him to kick it. I said, I don't mind going for it, but the play call is awful. Sam then responds with exactly the following. Dumb McVay. Dumb idiot McCray. Then he fixed it with McVay, and then stupid dumb idiot. What a stupid and dumb idiotic play call. That was so dumb. Wow. Did you lose money on that?
No.
Okay, I didn't think
not
so.
At all.
I didn't think so because on the show yesterday you were all pumped up about the Niners, so I didn't think you lost money on it. But that was the response of somebody who got screwed by Sean McVay and was letting out some steam.
I guess I love ball that much, maybe, that it's just hard to watch such dumb, idiotic play calling in such a big moment of such a big game.
Thought Frank Fleming.
Everybody seemed to forget about how important that game was.
I thought Frank, you were possessed by the soul of Frank Fleming or something. That's what it felt like. That was the text version of Frank Fleming.
I guess because it's text, I was trying to, my simplistic tone was not coming across with it. It was trying to be like dumb, idiotic. What a stupid, idiotic play call. Wow. It was just shocking that, we get to such a big moment and the head coach who's more accustomed to performing in the big moments does that. It was shocking. To the point about the game, though, and I think we're going to have to start calling them my San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
Because when Mac Jones is under center, I am enamored with this team. I cannot get enough of them. They're my drug, these San Francisco 49ers with Mac Jones under center. And as soon as Brock Purdy comes back, I'll kick him to the curb and I don't want anything to do with them anymore. But hey, Mac Jones makes this team fun. I don't care. I love watching him play quarterback in this offense. And it's so much more clear to me watching this team offensively with Mac Jones leading them. It's so clear to me that Kyle Shanahan likes Mac Jones' talent set more than he likes Brock Purdy's. And I'm starting to believe that Mac Jones is more talented than Brock Purdy. So again, and I tweeted this out last night, as I will tweet it out every single time this happens. Brock Purdy, your seat has to start to feel hot. I know you make a lot of money, but it's the National Football League, and we've seen this before. They'll bench you for the guy who can win a lot of games, and they'll get off your contract this offseason. It's not that hard, and I love this 49ers team with Mac Jones under center. I think they could actually, do some damage.
There's no questioning that Mac Jones is the hot hand right now. And, in this day and age where everybody's in win now mode, and when you start to sense it and smell it, and you're 4-1, with a MASH unit out there. I mean, eventually these injuries are going to catch up to you. You would have to think at some point these injuries are going to catch up to the Niners. Through 5 weeks, somehow it hasn't. And again, Sean McVay does them a huge favor on that fourth down call, running it right into the teeth of that defense rather than getting some of your playmakers on the outside, either with a little swing pass or a pitch to the outside. Running it straight into the heart of that defense was absolutely idiotic. But I look, I don't know how you don't start Mac Jones, how you don't just stay with him. And look, if it doesn't work out, I think you could go back to Brock Purdy if for some reason Mac Jones fails. You could always go back to Brock Purdy. The one thing this does point out, though, more than anything, And I talked about it a little bit with Damon Bruce on the show on Wednesday when you were off. I was comparing Kevin O'Connell as a quarterback whisperer and Kyle Shanahan as a quarterback whisperer. And there's no question in my mind, if I have to choose between the two, it's Kyle Shanahan as the quarterback whisperer. Go and look. This guy's won with everybody that he's put in that position. My God, who are the guys back when like Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt? Nick Mullins. I mean, he could win games with Nick Mullins at quarterback. He could win games with anybody. He could throw you. Under center.
Just real quick, Nick Mullins, bad example because he did the same thing in Minnesota when Kirk Cousins got hurt. But your point stands. Yes. I understand what you're saying. And
he
even think back to the Atlanta days when he took Matt Ryan was a great quarterback. He took a Matt Ryan offense to the Super Bowl.
He is where you want to go if you're a quarterback. It's the guy you want to play for.
You're right.
Because he's going to put you in positions to succeed. And he continues to do it time and time again. It's remarkable. We're coming back. Sam will return for Paige versus the Prince a little later on in the show. Robert Littal is next. Welcome back to the show. Fridays are very stable here on the show. You know you're going to get Tino Pattigno talking NASCAR in 20 minutes. You know you're going to get Paige versus the Prince, our 4-pack of NFL picks. And you know you're going to get this guy, the one and only Robert Littal, founder of Black Sports Online, hanging out with us on the program. And there is so much to talk about from the week that was. I even saved a story. I said, this is a Robert Littal story. So I said, we're not even gonna touch this story until I get to Robert later in the week. So I want to begin with the news out of the Super Bowl, where after it was revealed Taylor Swift had basically turned down the idea of performing at the Super Bowl. Robert, it was pretty much Bad Bunny that was in the lead when you looked at the sports betting and prediction markets and all that it was going to be Bad Bunny that was the choice for the Super Bowl. Given the backlash that we've already seen and you knew was going to come with a decision to go with Bad Bunny, that conservative America, the powers that be on the right politically in America, for whatever their reasons may be, whether you agree with them or disagree with them, I'm not taking a side. I'm just giving you the facts. How surprising was it to you that the NFL went this route?
Not surprising. Here's the thing. It didn't matter if it was Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift, Adele, Jay-Z. There was going to be pushback just because of the political climate that we were in. Because it's Jay-Z that's in charge, it was likely going to be an artist that was kind of on that, other side, politically. The NFL cares about worldwide, dollars. Bad Bunny is a worldwide artist, not just American artists. And I think what's going to end up happening is what always happens with the NFL. There's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of bluster. There's going to be a lot of threats. There's going to be a lot of this and that. And then when Bad Bunny performs, 150 million people are going to watch.
It's probably, that's fairly true. Do you think he sings any of his songs in English?
Sure. I'm sure he maybe has a song with Justin Bieber or something. Cardi B or somebody
who would be a good who would be a good guest star, because there's always somebody that comes out at these.
Yeah, so, I think the Biebs, people still like the Biebs and stuff, and I know he has some rappers. I think it'll be a good show. Here's the thing that I don't understand about America.
It's not for you and me though, really. Maybe
I just like the spectacle of it all. And that, I guess that's what I was trying to tell somebody. It's like, they're like, I can't believe it's 15 minutes. Go to the bathroom if you don't want to watch. Go watch a YouTube video, read a book. It's not the game. Nobody's forcing you to watch Bad Bunny. And the thing I don't understand about Americans is that, we're so funny about people from other, countries. But when we go internationally, we expect everybody to speak English.
Yeah.
It's like, so I think, like I said, it's a much to do about nothing. Because if you don't want to watch and it's not your thing, I'm sure people didn't watch Kendrick Lamar because that's not their thing. So, it's,
I hate to,
or whatever it would.
I hate to get political because my distributor always cringes and says, don't get political. But there's an ominous feeling to this Super Bowl with when you have a Bad Bunny performing, and you have this in the Bay Area, and you have a presidential administration, you have a government right now that's being run by people that want to really tackle illegal immigration in such a way. I just wonder if you're going to see like raids at this game.
Well, let me tell you something.
That's the kind of stuff I worry. It's the kind of stuff. It's the kind of stuff I worry about.
Here's the thing. The Super Bowl is not the place where you're going to find illegal immigrants. You can barely find regular working Americans. It's true. The Super Bowl is a game where it is not the same type of energy as an AFC or NFC championship game, or an NBA Finals game, or a World Series game, or hell, even a wild card game like you saw yesterday. It's simply a corporate crowd where 80 to 90% of the fans have to, really have some money to get in there, and you're just not going to see the type of individuals that I think they're going to say. Sure, they're going to probably send some people down there just, as a show of force. But in the end, I think the NFL is the one entity that is almost bulletproof to anything. And if they kind of flex their muscle, I don't think you're going to have too much of a problem.
I want to ask you about something NFL related while we're on the NFL, and that is Shedeur Sanders. I got to be honest. I look at this two different ways, this whole thing with him miming an answer, and apparently it was directed because of comments made by Rex Ryan over on ESPN. I'll take this two ways. One, why is the media bothering the third string quarterback? If it was anybody other than Shedeur Sanders, nobody from the media would be talking to him. These are setups. These are setups designed to get him to do something stupid like miming an answer. And the other flip side of that, while I'll blame the media for going and talking to the number 3 quarterback because it's Shedeur Sanders, the other side of that is, if you're Shedeur Sanders, who the hell cares what Rex Ryan is saying at this point? He's just a bloviating big mouth over on ESPN, where they've got plenty of them, by the way. That's all he is at this point. Why are you even giving him that kind of energy?
I loved it, and I tell you why. Because it's one of those, like you said, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he talks and says, "Oh, I think I'm better than some of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL," which probably every backup thinks, every CFL quarterback thinks, not a big deal. And then you have people in there calling you names and being disparaging to you and being derogatory, and nobody on the set is sticking up for you. And they say, okay, you know what I do? I won't say anything. Guess what? They're going to call you names and be derogatory. I think he's trying to prove a point that is, no matter what he does, they're going to take his name and use it, for ratings. And someone said something interesting to me. They said the Steelers' third string quarterback was out in Ireland or whatever, doing something weird at 3 a.m, and that brother got beat up, and nobody investigated it. It was a blip on the screen. But Shedeur Sanders is absolutely doing that. I saw somebody criticize Shedeur Sanders yesterday for working out on his day off, but he didn't work out at the facility. It's just amazing to me that he cannot get around this. And we've seen it before in sports. Once they have a narrative, they're going to stick to it. And Rex Ryan should be fired. I honestly believe that he says stuff that's 10 times worse than Ryan Clark. And they just sit there on that set and they just let him talk about people personally like that. And there's racial undertones to it, and no one says anything. But if Ryan Clark tells Pete Schrager that he never played, all of a sudden it's a national security issue. And everybody's talking about it. And I don't like the double standard.
Well said. Robert Littal, ladies and gentlemen, founder of Black Sports Online. We got him for one more segment. I got to ask him about all the hullabaloo around the WNBA and the WNBA finals that are starting under a cloud of controversy for something that has nothing to do with what's going on the court. That's next. We got Robert Littal for one more segment. The founder of Black Sports Online hangs out with us every Friday on SportsWrap. Sometimes he fills in hosting with me as well. Whatever he does it well. That's the truth. Somebody whose insights I really appreciate. And by the way, that hoodie is straight up fire, man.
Oh yeah.
That is one of the big thrills of my life. I got to interview him
Macho Man over Hogan every single time.
I got to interview, true story, I got to interview the Macho Man when he was doing the press tour for the first Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah.
Bonesaws here. I got to interview him when I was working at SiriusXM back when it was just Sirius Satellite Radio in 2004, I believe. Thrill of a lifetime. He couldn't have been nicer. All right, so I want to get your thoughts on this controversy that's swirling around the WNBA. So you've got the finals beginning on Friday night, Mercury and Aces, and we should be talking about an Aces team that is trying to rally after basically being terrible the first 25 games, 26 games of the regular season. Becky Hammon was at a loss for words. She had no idea what to do. And now you turn around, and here they are in the WNBA Finals against a Mercury team that I don't think anybody predicted would be in this position. But instead, we're talking about Napheesa Collier, and we're talking about the WNBA players, and we're talking about the Players Association, and we're talking about Kathy Engelbert, and we're talking about whether or not Kathy Engelbert should keep her job or not. And I said this yesterday on the show, and I want to get your thoughts. If even half of what she said is true, that being Napheesa Collier, and frankly, given the response from Kathy Engelbert, I have no reason to believe it isn't true. Is there any way Kathy Engelbert survives this collective bargaining process and the time by the time we get to next season? She can't be the commissioner, could she?
If what she said about Caitlin Clark is true, I would have got her out of there yesterday. That was one of the most insane.
Remind people if
she said it was the WNBA. That Caitlin Clark should be basically on her knees thanking the WNBA for the money that she's making, and basically that the WNBA was the reason that she was popular. I don't know where she got that from. I don't know where she gets that these young ladies are popular because of the WNBA, because if Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Paige Beckers all decided they wanted to up and leave and go do something else, trust me, that's where the eyes would go. It's unfathomable to me, and we've talked about this multiple times, Jason. This was a layup. This was a layup. I don't think a professional league in any sport had something so perfectly set up for them to just blow up and be mainstream, but nothing but positive. It could have been nothing but positive. But almost every single aspect since Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese has gotten to the league has been negative. Negative stories, negative attention, negative political. Everything has been negative and not about the game. And I just can't understand how Kathy and the administration and even the players, how they blew this layup so easily.
Two follow-ups on this. One, are you surprised that Caitlin Clark wasn't more outspoken rather than just saying, I agree with Napheesa Collier? Like it was pretty bland. It was a pretty, I don't want to say a tepid response, but she could have put the death nail in Kathy Engelbert if she had come out and been a little more forceful in terms of what she was going to say. I think, Kathy Engelbert still is hanging by a string just because Caitlin Clark wasn't more forceful in her statement.
It's sad because it's just not the way Caitlin Clark is. She's been like this. She doesn't want to be tied up in all of this. She's not really into all of that. She is the quintessential Nikola Jokic. I just want to play basketball and I'm very good at it. And I'm popular not because of anything like that I'm trying to do. There's two different types of popularity where you're actively trying to be, an influencer or whatever it may be. You're trying to be popular. And then some people are just naturally popular for, because of just who they are. I think she's so uncomfortable in these situations that they put her in when she just was like, I just wanted to play ball like it was in college. And I think it's had an effect on the way that she's played in the WNBA.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. And maybe she'll grow into her voice, too. Remember, it's still somebody that's pretty young. I'm talking about somebody in their early 20s. Maybe she'll grow into that voice. You can look at various stars in the NBA that have come along throughout the years. Some kind of find their voice and find their purpose and whatever that may be. Does the NBA step in here? They own 60% of the league.
I mean, they were the ones that installed Kathy Engelbert.
So they could obviously take her out. I mean, hey, I brought you into this world. I can take you out of it.
I honestly do. I honestly think that it's out of control right now. And somebody higher above her needs to come in and say, hey, man, this is how we're going to handle things, going forward. Because if they have a lockout or any type of work stoppage or anything, I don't know if they necessarily recover, from that in the ways that we thought the league would be after all of these players, came in. It's still going to be popular, and I think the ratings will still be higher than what they were in their down years. But it should be up there with hockey and maybe baseball. It could have been like that, but I don't think it will be now.
Yeah, and I think the NBA has to step in, because I think the only way you can get to a compromise is with new leadership. That's it. That's it, Robert. Because as long as she is the commissioner, I don't think there's a season next year. So if she digs in,
the NBA wants.
If she digs in and tries to say, "Hey, look, the men in the NBA are trying to take me out of power," I wonder how entrenched Kathy Engelbert tries to get in this situation.
We'll find
how
out.
much ego and hubris plays in this.
We'll find out tonight, because she has a press conference. So by the time everybody's watching this, we'll have an idea.
Well, she ain't going to step down now. She's going to wait. She'll wait until after the WNBA Finals, if at all. Robert Littal, the founder of Black Sports Online, I appreciate you coming by every week and chatting it up with me. Be well, my friend.
I'm going to pantomime.
Tino is next. Welcome back to the show. Good to have you with us on this Friday. Page versus the Prince comes your way in about 10 minutes. Week 5 NFL picks from myself and Sam Yarnell. We're both off to pretty decent starts to get the season going. I'll tell you about that coming up. But if it's a Friday on SportsWrap, it can only mean one thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's a NASCAR Friday, and Tino Pattigno, with a couple of fistful of dollars, going to give you some advice on who to take at the Roval this weekend. Before we get to that, we didn't do our normal Monday NASCAR segment because there was just so much going on in sports. We had to push it back. I wanted to first of all get your thoughts on what took place in Kansas last week. A golden opportunity gone by the wayside for Bubba Wallace, which puts him in a difficult position this week at the Roval. Give me your impressions.
Yeah, a golden opportunity missed because his own team owner in Denny Hamlin was the one that slid him out of the way and into the wall and gave the, opening of a lifetime for Chase Elliott to go from 10th to 1st on the overtime restart there. Honestly, perfectly executed by Chase Elliott and that team. They were not in position to win. Chase did not have the fastest car, but I noticed something at New Hampshire the week prior, and that's why I picked Chase Elliott to win last weekend outright at 12-1, because they took a strategy call to do whatever it took to have an opportunity to win at New Hampshire. It wasn't the right play. They ultimately did not win the race. Ryan Blaney did, but that's the same sort of thing that happened at Kansas. Chase wasn't as fast as those Toyotas were. Denny Hamlin, Bubba, Christopher Bell, Briscoe, Reddick were all in front of him. So what did he do? Instead of taking 2 tires, he took 4. And then the overtime happened, couple restarts go by, and that's what gave him the advantage in the second lap of that green-white checkered finish. It's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen, but that's also the type of racing product that Kansas puts on. So great race, phenomenal finish, and it was the type of strategy that wins you a race in a pivotal moment like that to advance to the next round.
That's a lot coming from you to say it's the most impressive thing you've seen, because you watch a lot of NASCAR. Just to close the book on Bubba here for a second, is it basically he has to win this week, or can he figure out a way to get from 10th to 8th?
There's a tough spot because he's minus 26 to the cut line. He doesn't have to win like Austin Cindric does, who's minus 28, or even Tyler Reddick as well as minus 29, Bubba's teammate. I think those two drivers are looking for Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe to have issues and then capitalize with a strong points day. But the odds are he is going to have to win because Chase Briscoe's been strong on road courses this year. We're not going to see an issue out of William Byron that cost him enough points to go below the cut line. So it's not technically a must-win scenario, but if he wants to advance to the next round, that's really the main thing he can count on to control his own destiny, is winning this race.
Give me a thought on Joey Logano. By the way, you can catch Tino on SiriusXM. Does a great job with NASCAR radio there on the weekends with your picks, and also over on Tubi. Give me a thought on Joey Logano here, who's plus 13, 8th spot, just above the cut line. How the Roval sets up for him and his prospects for moving on in the final 8 here in this cutoff race.
It sets up well because they're able to have a strong top 10 run at this track. We've seen it multiple times recently, a 5th place and 8th place recently, around the top 15, the race prior to that. And that's what that team does. They hang around. They're one of the final guys that advances every year in this spot. And then he wins in the round of 8, gets the championship, and has a great shot to win it because he's a part of Team Penske. So I don't see him unless a guy like Bubba Wallace or Tyler Reddick, and Tyler Reddick I would put as my driver to watch this weekend. Good value to do so, 12-1 to win this race at the Roval. He has a shot to win it and advance, I think, the most out of those drivers that are below the cut line. So if I'm Joey Logano, the only thing I'm worried about would be that. But counterpoint, when you have SVG in the field, I'm feeling pretty good. Like
yeah,
Joey
hold
Logano.
on a second. That's where I was going to stop you. I'm like, isn't this a race for second? Aren't we basically talking about a race for second this week? Which makes it really hard for the guys that are, way down on that cut line or below it, because you basically know Shane Van Gisbergen's going to win this race, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he is. He has 5 wins on road courses in 11 starts. That's a 45.5, the highest win percentage at a certain track in NASCAR Cup Series history. And we're seeing him at plus money right now. And that's the thing. That's why I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to hop on the show and say, I would bet SVG right now, before practice, before qualifying. Unit allocation can come after that, right? You can still have Christopher Bell 10-1, Tyler Reddick 12-1, AJ Allmendinger, fantastic road course racer 16-1. So my point is SVG's the favorite for a reason. He leads and dominates. He's able to flip the stages and still win, which is something we've never seen before him. And the fact that he's been so dominant this year on every single road course, even Watkins Glen, I was there in person. The narratives were, who can we pick besides SVG? Other people have more experience than him at this track. It doesn't matter because it hasn't mattered all season. If you want to say this, the Roval's part oval. That's why he won't be as good. He got a top 10 last weekend at Kansas.
All right, in the final minute here, give me some thoughts on other bets and other drivers you might like, because it's rare that we could just say, all right, Shane Van Gisbergen's going to win, so where else do you look for value?
I would say another driver we wanted to touch on would be Christopher Bell. He is a guy that I think he can go toe-to-toe with SVG if he has a shot on a late race restart, right? But that's the thing, is he's going to have a position to catch up to him. But he's another driver that's been strong here. Won here before, 2nd place at this track last year. I keep an eye on Kyle Larson from the standpoint of potentially fading him in a head-to-head matchup. He hasn't had strong finishes on road courses. After winning here last year, he has 32nd or worse finishes on all road courses this season. So they're locked in from a points perspective, or they're at least going to be, barring any drastic changes there. But that's something I would keep an eye on.
Right.
In terms of some top 10 or prop plays, Chris Buescher's always a strong shot for one of those.
All right. Tino Pattigno, SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Catch him on Tubi. Enjoy the race this weekend, my friend.
Thank you.
Page versus the Prince, next. All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Friday. But before we do, a couple of reminders. If you have not done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. We're available on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show, including the reciting of Sam Yarnell's text messages to me after the Niners-Rams game, in crystal clear audio.
I'm never texting you ever again.
No.
I mean, if my text message is getting right on the show, there goes me texting you.
You barely text me anyway. I was kind of thrilled to hear from you last night. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. Go and check that out. In addition, we've also got the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Look, if you have not subscribed yet, go and do it. We've got SportsWrap shorts there. We have full shows there Monday through Friday. It's a great way to keep up with everything we're doing here on SportsWrap with Jason Page. All right, without any further delay on this Friday edition of the show, it's one of my favorite things we do on this program. It's the battle for pick supremacy.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for the weekly face-off for sports betting bragging rights. It's Page versus the Prince on the SportsWrap.
Thank you for that introduction, Chad Erickson. Sam Yarnell, we are neck and neck. You are 11-5 on the season. I am 10-6. I went 3-1 last week. You went 2-2. I have had 3 of my 4 weeks. I have gone 3-1, and the other week I went 1-3. You've been a bit all over the map. 2-2, undefeated. I mean, you're just all over the place. Strive for some consistency here. The fans expect consistency.
I think I've only gone 2-2 or undefeated,
something
right?
like that. I don't know. You might. No, you went 3-1. You went 3-1 one week. You've literally run the gamut. Sam Yarnell, your picks for Week 5 in the NFL. Go.
All right, Jason, I'll tell you this right now. There are a lot of lines out there that stink like last week's garbage. I mean, it is like a set of dumpsters on the slate this week when you're looking at the sports book. There are a lot of numbers that I just can't get all the way there on, and I am staying away from altogether. One that I'm not is my system play on the show, a bet that I'll always make forever and ever and ever, and I can't wait to make it this week. Give me the Vikings and the Browns under 35.5. The Lunder, I know it's a low number. We'll call it a challenge Lunder for that reason. It's going to be hard to get this one in there, but I don't think there are going to be points in this game. Vikings, Browns under 35.5. Ravens, Texans, also don't see a lot of points coming in this one. You know why? Everyone and their cousin is injured in this game. Seriously, Marlon Humphrey's not practicing, no matter, he doesn't provide a lot to that defense, but regardless. Lamar Jackson, obviously not going to play in this one. I'm going to go under 40.5 in Ravens Texans because I just don't see how these offenses get going. Raiders Colts, exact opposite. Over 47.5. This one's a rocket ship on a fast track in Indianapolis. 2 indoor teams. I like points in it. Over 47.5 Raiders Colts. And give me the ugliest one on the board. Titans plus 7.5 in Arizona. I just don't trust the Cardinals to win by more than a touchdown, and one of the 0-4 teams is going to win this week, so maybe it's the Titans. Vikings, Browns, Lunder, 35.5. Ravens, Texans, under 40.5. Raiders, Colts, over 47.5. And Titans plus a touchdown and a half point at Arizona in the desert. It's an ugly slate this week, Jason.
I wouldn't touch the Titans with, well, I won't say it. I wouldn't touch them with yours, let's just say. I mean, Cam Ward, the way that team, there's a lot of dissension there right now. You've got Cam Ward calling people out. I don't know if that's one. No, I'm good. All right, I've got 4 games for you. You and I disagree on the London game. I actually think it goes over. 35.5 points, you can get there by accident. I mean, you can get it, you can get a pick 6 in this game. And get to 35.5 pretty easy. Dylan Gabriel's debut, I do not expect it to be a stellar debut. I mean, nothing about starting him this week makes sense for me. Starting him your first game, it's overseas. Nothing is normal about the preparation for this week for the Cleveland Browns. I don't like it at all. But I do think the game does manage to go over at 35.5. It's just too low. I'm a sucker for games that go with that low a number. Give me the Giants plus 1.5 in New Orleans. I mean, to me, that feels like one of the easiest games on the docket this week. What is Spencer Rattler and that New Orleans offense going to be able to do against this stellar Giants defense? And the Flying Jackson Darts. Who picks against them? No Malik Neighbors, no problem. Giants cover the 1.5. I am all about Cooper Rush, man. The guy won games in Dallas. You're telling me they can't figure out a way to win at home plus 1.5 against the Texans, who have been anything but stellar this year? I'm all about the Ravens plus 1.5 at home. And speaking of the Cowboys, his former team. I'll take the Cowboys minus 2.5 against the Jets. Cowboys could score against anybody. I don't think this week will be any different. So the Giants plus 1.5, the Ravens plus 1.5 over in the Lunder game, and the Cowboys minus 2.5. Your picks for week 5 in the NFL, Sam. Anything to say in the final 10 seconds?
Going against a couple of 0-4 teams, man. Be careful. Tread lightly.
They're 0-4 teams for a reason.
It's hard to be 0-5.
It is, but it's the Jets and it's the Titans. It ain't that hard. It's going to do it for us. Thanks to Robert Littal, Tino, Pattigno, you, Sam. We'll see you all back here next week for more Sports Wrap.